Are you manifesting for stuff and not for substance? Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Value of the Phoenix podcast. My name is Patrice, and here we talk all things affirmations, manifestation, and becoming the best version of yourself thus far. So if that is something that you are interested in, please keep on listening. So I saw a video on TikTok, and the person basically asked the question, are you only manifesting for tangible things? And it really got me thinking about how just manifesting tangible things can actually be hindering you from having things that you really truly want. And so I wanted to touch on it in this episode. So as we know, manifestation is literally just making sure that your thoughts and your actions are aligned. And we know just how powerful manifestation is. But I do sometimes think, are we limiting ourselves when we are just out here, manifesting for the money, the car, the house, the boyfriend, whatever it is that we want? Are we limiting ourselves? Because there's so many other amazing things, non-tangible things that could essentially help us to get the tangible things. But sometimes people are so focused on things that they can see and things that they can touch that they forget that there's other things out there that they could be manifesting for. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I briefly touched on this, but let's have a look at things that might be considered tangible manifestations. So we have got things that, you can see, you can touch, you can feel. So think money, car, house, jewelry, a partner. So these are all tangible things. But if we look at things that are intangible, such as confidence, purpose, peace of mind, clarity, these things are intangible manifestations. However, I do feel like these could really play a part in you getting the tangible manifestations that you want. So what I found really interesting is that I feel like a lot of the tangible manifestations that we're going after, a lot of the tangible desires that we have, can be because of societal pressures, societal norms, societal conditioning. So a lot of the time people will just see material success and just associate that with success, period. That's it. And so it can be really easy for us to want to have material success that we can put out there, success that we can show to the world. This is me, this is my successful life. I've got the money, I've got the car, I've got the house, I've got the clothes, I've got this, I've got that. It's really easy to put that out there, and it's really easy for people to kind of lap that up, because material success is just the first thing that people see about you. We live in a world where we want instant gratification. And so when people are trying to go after material success or these tangible manifestations, that's usually the reason why they're going for it. They want that instant gratification. They want that, I achieved this and this is how it's now made me feel. I've achieved that and this is how it's now made me feel. And it's almost looked at as like a status symbol. So a lot of people just in life will glamorize those things because, like I said, a lot of the time material success equals success to, in the eyes of other people. And I also think it's the appeal of measurable outcomes, because yes, some people might, see you, they might see your videos on TikTok or whatever, and they might think, oh, this person, she's really confident. But as we know, a lot of the time when we put these measurable outcomes out there, i.e., I've got this new job, or I just bought this new designer handbag, there's an appeal to that because it's measurable. Whereas with a lot of the intangible desires and manifestations, it's a lot harder to actually measure those outcomes. And so in a sense, even though those things are amazing, to the outside world, it's almost seen as less appealing. It's quite sad, to be honest, but this is the world that we're living in. So this is not to say that tangible manifestations aren't good. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I think it's a really good way for you to stay motivated and focused because you've got your eye on something that is tangible. You can see it, you can touch it. It's a lot easier to measure for yourself as well. And it can also help to build your confidence in the manifestation process. So for example, if you're someone that's manifesting for a job and you now get that job, that will in turn make you feel a lot more confident in your manifesting abilities, which will result in you wanting to continue to manifest your desires. So I'll give you an example. I manifested this flat that I am currently living in, and there was so much, congratulations, you've done this, you're amazing, I'm so proud of you, you put in the work, there was all of that. But then it's interesting because in other aspects of my life where I feel like I've really hit like a high note in other areas, such as my confidence, my self-concept, just in terms of knowing who I am as a person, those, congratulations, words of affirmation and everything, they weren't really there as much. And obviously when it comes to intangible manifestations, they are a lot deeper, and so you're not really going to share a lot of those things with just everyone. So I do understand that that can play a part in it as well. But yeah, it's just really interesting how different things are perceived in just the world that we live in, basically. So if you're someone that has now realized, oh my gosh, I think I only try and manifest tangible things, then I do want you to have a little think about why that is, and look a little bit deeper into why those things would make you happy. Because I'll be honest, if you are solely focused on manifesting tangible things, it can show a lack of like a deeper awareness of yourself, a deeper like emotional awareness, and that's not good, because you could be, neglecting a part of you that does actually require a lot more nurturing than, the other sides of you that wants to measure your success through these tangible manifestations. Another reason why you shouldn't just solely focus on tangible manifestations is the fact that sometimes it can lead to you feeling quite empty after you have experienced, that first initial high of the tangible manifestation. And what I mean by that is that, when you guys probably would have experienced this in your day-to-day life, when you've achieved something, it's tangible. Let's say, for example, you saved up the money to buy yourself the new car that you wanted. And you're all excited, you go and pick up the car, you drive the car home, and then a week later, that feeling of, euphoria or happiness, oh my gosh, my new car, the car that I worked so hard for, blah, blah, blah. A week later, you don't feel those same emotions anymore because the high was there and now it's gone. And so I feel like when you include intangible manifestations along with your tangible manifestations, it allows for you to be able to maneuver through those little points where, the high has now come down a little bit. It will just help you to deal with like the emotional and the mental side of coming down from quite a big high. Because I'll be honest, with all of the tangible, the car, the money, the clothes, they can only make you feel good for a certain amount of time. Let's say, for example, actors or musicians. There's been so many people that will tell you that, I had all of this, I had the money, I had the girls, I had the crib, I had this, I had that. Even though they still had those things, or maybe those things disappeared, that's when they felt that true sense of lack. And that's why it's so important when you're on your self-concept journey to be working on yourself emotionally and mentally as well. Like I said, that is the way that you're going to be able to deal with the kind of ins and outs and, highs and lows of life in general. When you're working on things like your confidence, when you have peace of mind, when you have a better understanding of yourself as a person, it will help you through the difficulties of life, whereas the tangible items, they're not going to be able to help you through. Yeah, they might look good, but they're not going to be there to look after you on the inside. And another thing that I would say as well is that it can kind of show like a lack mentality. So I've definitely been guilty of this in the past, and it's something that I'm actively working on. And it's this idea of, when I get this, then I'll be happy. When I have this, then I'll be happy. And I think that when you're constantly chasing these tangible things, that can sometimes show that there is a lack within you, because you just associate happiness with those things. You will soon realize that if the lack is there without those things aren't going to help it. The lack will still be there. And so you have to work on understanding why the lack is there and what you can do to help yourself through those situations. So I really like the idea of having balanced desires, balanced manifestations. And the reason for that is because I do think it's important to have tangible manifestations that you want to go after, but as we know, the intangible ones are really, really important. They are more important than the tangible, if I'll be honest, because ultimately, if you work on the intangible, I do think that it will lead to you also having the tangible. Whereas if you work solely on the tangible, it's not going to help you when it comes to the intangible. I think that it's really important to focus on growth, experiences, your feelings. I think it's really important to focus on those things just as much as you're focusing on stuff, the tangible stuff. So like I said, we want substance to be up here and we want stuff to be, well, as long as you're working on both, I think that that's fine. But you should definitely be working on substance a lot more than stuff. So an example of this could be, rather than just saying, okay, I really want to manifest a new job. I need a new job. I want a new job. You could now look at it as, I am manifesting a sense of purpose and alignment in my work. That is a really great way that you can look on it, because as much as you are focusing on the tangible, you are also focusing on the intangible, which is important. So yeah, just make sure that as much as you are, going after these tangible things in life, that you are also thinking about all of the intangible, amazing qualities and things that you want for yourself within you. And that could literally just be that you just want a bit more clarity in your life. But like I said, it's all about substance. It's all about making sure that you're not just going after the materialistic things in life, because ultimately that stuff is not going to get to the nitty gritty of why you're actually on your self-concept journey. And as we know, manifestation is actually a lot deeper than just, I'm going to align my thoughts with my actions. It's actually a lot deeper than that, because if you are looking at it from a self-concept standpoint, you understand that, you need to be working on your limiting beliefs. You need to be understanding yourself on an emotional level. You need to be figuring out why you behave the way that you behave in order for you to grow as a person. So yeah, have a little think about whether you are someone that is just focusing a bit too much on the tangible, and see whether you can kind of audit your current desires and manifestations so that you're not just relying on the tangible to make you feel good, but you're also looking at the intangible things within that could potentially help you to get the tangible manifestations that you want. Anyways, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure to give a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe as well. And don't forget to leave a comment as well if you want to do so. But yes, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Bye.